Hello. By the time this is up, it looks like I will be just reaching 200,000 subscribers, which makes the timing a little ironic, because the main reason I am making this is to tell you that I've been thinking about quitting. Which doesn't mean I am quitting, not exactly, but I have been thinking about it. I should say, I don't necessarily want to quit, but I do want to do what's best for me, and I have been spending a lot of time recently trying to work out what that is. So I want to share my thought process about this, so at the very least, you can understand where I'm coming from and why I'm doing what I'm doing. If you are here from Patreon, this is going to be a bit like the monthly updates, just longer and even more negative than usual. Anyway, because of the length, I'll try to include some timestamps for different topics so you can skip around if you really want, although everything I have to say is in many ways connected. This is also mostly scripted, so I'm hoping I'll be able to explain myself somewhat coherently, but we'll see. First though, let me provide some context. Let's talk about the channel's history. I started making videos about 4.5 years ago on a whim. I had no real expectations going into this, I had never done anything like this before, and I didn't know what it would be like, and actually that was one of the main reasons I did it. I wanted to know what making a YouTube video was like, so I took it upon myself to find out, and spoilers, it was fun, more fun than I expected really. I mean, I kind of thought I'd attempt to make a YouTube video, and in doing so I'd find out that making videos is hard, and that would be the end. But that wasn't what I found out. I found out that I liked it. So I kept at it. It took me 8 videos until I had my first taste of success, which came from the Pathfinder Kingmaker review, and about 1 year until the channel started to find a consistent level of success, which came shortly after the Fallout video. From this point, things were simple. After all, making videos was fun, so all I had to do was make more. There were also plenty of things I wanted to make videos about, and every video helped the channel grow. 1 year after the Fallout video, which is about 2 years since the channel's inception, I made a video on Dragon Age, and it was my most successful video of all time, by far. It reached 500,000 views in a month, and the entire channel saw significant growth, far greater than ever before, and so I thought, aha, I have made it, I have reached the level of success I am happy with, and everything will be easy from here. Then the Dragon Age video got incorrectly flagged for hate speech, and channel growth nosedived, which is a very YouTube-like experience really. Anyway, things became a little more complicated a few months later when I made the CRPG guide video. This was my biggest video up until this point in terms of work, and I was happy with how it turned out. I did have to play, or replay mostly, a lot of CRPGs for that video however, and then, when Wasteland 3 released, right around the time I was finishing the video, I realized something. Which was that I didn't really want to play Wasteland 3, because for the past 2 years I had spent hundreds and hundreds of hours mostly replaying CRPG after CRPG after CRPG, and I was a bit bored of the genre as a result, so I didn't want to play another one. Anyway, I played Wasteland 3, and it was good, but I realized I didn't want to make a video on it, because it was good, and there just wasn't that much for me to say about one more good CRPG, as I had talked about the genre so much by this point that to give my opinion would have just involved repeating much of what I'd said before, while providing an overall assessment that didn't differ radically from the majority of people who had already talked about the game. And I understand that for a YouTube channel like mine, sometimes fans just want to know your opinion on a game, but my opinion on Wasteland 3 was, and still is, that Wasteland 3 is good. I didn't love it, I didn't dislike it, it's good, it's a good game. Now, maybe if I had put in some effort, I could express this lukewarm take in a video of sufficient quality that my audience would be happy with it. And maybe the video would have been good enough. But the thing is, good enough wasn't good enough for me. Now, I'm not going to claim that every video I have made has been great, but once I found my footing and learnt what I was doing, I think I can fairly claim that with every video I made, I tried to make it great. I tried to say something original or something meaningful and to provide a video of high enough quality that it would be worth my viewers' precious time. I tried. And this is in large part where I found the enjoyment to actually come from when making a video. It's in that attempt at greatness. It's in the unpredictability and the struggle and the desire to produce something you can be proud of while knowing that doing so isn't easy. And it's in the rare feeling you get when you reach the end after hours and hours of work, day after day, and you think, yeah, this is it. This video is good. And tomorrow I will share it with the world. This feeling provides a high, and it is a high I enjoy and crave. It makes me feel alive, and it makes me feel human. So, I don't need every video I make to be great, but I do need to feel like every video has a chance at greatness, because chasing greatness is what keeps me going. It is the fuel that powers my engine. It is why I can work up to 80 hours in a single week, and it is a necessary component for doing all this. Basically, I can't make videos without it, or at least I don't want to, because it changes the process from something I fundamentally enjoy into a slog where I am working too many hours and I feel miserable most of the time. So, good enough may technically be good enough for the channel to survive, maybe even to grow, but it is not good enough for me. And a similar set of statements could be made for making videos on subjects that I don't have a genuine passion for, or videos that feel formulaic and repetitive, or even videos that I feel certain are doomed to fail, because how can I enjoy spending so much time and energy working as hard as I can on something that I know will be a failure, when I could be spending that same time and energy on something that people would enjoy and could benefit me rather than hindering me. Anyway, we'll come back to video creation. For now though, let's return to the channel history. So, I did not make a video on Wasteland 3, and life went on. The next year was good, but then history repeated. I took a bit of a risk and made a video on Genshin Impact, and it paid off, as not only did the video turn out very well, but it was also a huge success, being my most viewed video of all time, and so the channel took off once more, much like it had after the Dragon Age video, and again I thought to myself, maybe I've made it. But then I fucked up. My thought process was basically that I thought the Genshin Impact video was the best video I had ever made, and so I wanted, even more so than usual, to follow it up with something equally good. And so I went to one of the ideas that I had had for a long time that I always thought had the potential to create a truly great video, and that I had always avoided for obvious reasons. That idea was a deep dive into adult video games, and in fairness, I think it was the most fun I have ever had working on a video. It was an absolute joy to make. But it was still, logically, a bad idea, as the video got age-restricted, understandably, and then so did the next video I made, not understandably, and that 1-2 combo killed all the momentum the Genshin Impact video had given me. Now, with time, I have come to regard the adult games video as the end of the golden age of my YouTube channel and YouTube career, as everything's basically been downhill since, something which is reflected in channel metrics and even more so in my own personal experience during this time, during the last year. In this period, I have had multiple cancelled projects, something which I never had in the first 3.5 years I made videos. I have struggled to be as productive as I once was. I have quit my day job to give myself more time and still ended up producing less content than before, and I have been unhappy, often. I typically find I go to bed unhappy at night, and I wake up unhappy in the morning, and a good day is one where I find a way to distract myself during that in-between time, but I don't always manage to do that, which is frustrating, because for years, working on YouTube was a perfect distraction. When I was in school, and even more so later on in university, I found I had a problem. I procrastinated. I did this even though I knew I shouldn't, even though it was obvious I was making things worse for myself. And I did this repeatedly, religiously even. I couldn't stop. I had a problem, and I never really did work out a good solution. Until I started making YouTube videos, where one day I suddenly realized I never procrastinated anymore, and that I never had any desire to, because I liked what I was doing. I enjoyed the work, so why would I want to avoid it? And I realized then that life is fucking simple. You don't need to learn how to force yourself to do something you don't want to. You just need to find a thing you actually like doing. And I had found that thing. And really, I was lucky that for 3.5 years I got to enjoy that. In the last year, however, I have started to feel that desire to procrastinate again, and I don't even necessarily indulge it that often, but I still really hate the fact it's there. I hate that I have to fight against it. I hate that this problem that I thought I had solved has come back, and I hate that this job that I used to enjoy is not fun anymore, because that makes everything so much harder. The last video I uploaded on this channel may technically be, in a relative sense, the least successful video I have made, and I don't really know why. Maybe the video isn't that good, but Total War Warhammer is a fairly popular series, and I didn't feel like the video was especially bad. Still, in isolation, this wouldn't matter that much. Not every video can be a hit, and it's foolish to expect otherwise, but this hasn't happened in isolation. It has come at the end of a very difficult and unhappy year, where I would like to say that the one positive I can take from these past 12 months is that I have kept going, kept working, kept moving forward, despite the struggles and the problems. But the end result of this is that the channel and myself are in a worse place than ever before, and I don't have any real solution to that. Which is not to say that there isn't a solution to this problem. There is, and it applies to many struggling YouTubers. The solution is to keep going, keep making videos, try to make as many as possible, and try to hit those algorithmically friendly topics, because if you do all that, then as long as your content is actually good, sooner or later you will have another hit. The algorithm will smile upon you, and your channel will be given another chance at genuine growth, just like what happened to my channel before with the Fallout video, and the Dragon Age video, and the Genshin Impact video. And when that happens, maybe don't make a video about porn games. Maybe never make a video about porn games. Maybe don't even say the word porn out loud on YouTube, because why risk it? Growing on YouTube is relatively simple. The algorithm is king, and you just need to keep working and always remember your place. This isn't a solution to me though, because I am stuck. I have another problem, one that is paralyzing me, and it's one I don't have a solution for, which is that I don't know what videos to make anymore. Now, if that sounds like a simple problem, then allow me to complicate it for you. There are 3 different requirements I have when it comes to making a video. These are, 1, that I am passionate about the video topic, which is an obvious one, passion is fuel. 2, that the topic is algorithmically viable, i.e. that there will be enough people interested in the topic to click on the video to provide a good enough click-through rate for the video to succeed. And 3, that the video can be completed in a realistic time frame. Time is money. Except not really. Money is money, time is time. I can get money, I just need to say yes to the Raid Shadow Legends guy, but time is limited and important. And in fact, all 3 of these things are important. I need all of them to make a video, and when I can meet all 3 of these, that is how I know a video should be made. And I do still have ideas for videos. I write them down in a list, which ended up becoming multiple different lists, but ideas I have. The problem is that these ideas don't meet all 3 of these criteria. For example, I might be able to think of an idea that would do well with the algorithm and wouldn't take too long, but that I have no real passion for. And this is no good, because if I don't have passion, I won't enjoy the work, causing other problems. Or I might have an idea that I am passionate about and wouldn't take too long, but it's an idea that wouldn't appeal to enough people, so wouldn't do well with the algorithm, so wouldn't gain many views and wouldn't lead to growth, meaning it wouldn't address the problem of the channel starting to die. For what it's worth, I thought the Warhammer 3 review was algorithmically viable enough to be worth making, but it is still one of the least successful videos of all time, and most of my ideas feel less algorithmically viable than this. Finally, there are ideas which I am passionate about and are widely appealing enough to meet the algorithm's needs, but that would take a long time. A good example of this would be the History of MMOs video, which took far longer than normal as it's such a time-intensive project. This type of video is fine in moderation, but each video like this can take more than twice as long as a normal video, and spending more time on a single video is also more risky if it fails, and channel growth is reliant on quantity, so going all out on long videos has an obvious disadvantage there. So I do have ideas, but none of them seem good enough anymore. One of the challenges of YouTube is that you don't just make something you want to make, you do so continuously. You make video after video, so you need idea after idea, and you may not have the luxury of waiting for good ideas to come to you, and I have basically run out of good ideas. Everything is too risky, or would take stupidly long, or it's too weird or too obscure, or I just don't care, it is boring to me. So this is why I feel like I'm stuck. I don't know what are the best ideas I have, and even the best ideas don't feel like they're enough. To illustrate this, a few days ago I cancelled the video I was working on after about a week of work. It was going to be a video about gaming dystopias. I've always liked dystopian fiction. 1984 is actually my favourite book of all time. It is the one and only book that I think every single person has an obligation to read, but mostly I just find dystopias interesting for various reasons, and I thought it would be a fun thing to write about. So the idea for the video was that I would look at a number of different well-known dystopian games, probably 10, and then rate their settings by a few different criteria, like how dystopian they are, how original they are, how relatable the setting is, and how well the game communicates the setting to the player through its mechanics and story. Anyway, the idea is okay, but okay isn't enough, and ultimately I don't think the video would do well because most people aren't as interested in dystopian settings as me, and the video doesn't have an obvious audience. And it's not like the video is really that easy or quick to make, and I don't even know if the video would turn out well in terms of quality, as it's too much of an unknown. So I stopped. I had too many doubts about the idea, and my fuel ran out. Progress slowed to a crawl, my mood was low, and the desire to procrastinate started cooling, so I decided to pull the plug before any more of my time ended up being wasted. Ultimately, the idea wasn't good enough. But that's the thing. None of them are anymore. Every idea has its problems, and the channel is already doing worse than ever, and choosing between bad ideas feels bad, and forcing ideas feels risky, and did I mention I don't feel very happy, which I don't think is helping things, and I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing, but whatever thing I do feels like it is the wrong thing. And now that I am confessing how I feel, it's probably worth bringing up that I'm not even sure if I like this type of content anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like my videos, but of course I like my videos, I'm somewhat biased in their favour, but I struggle to like other people's videos of a similar style. I mean, generally, I don't watch videos like mine in my free time, and when I do, I tend to find them boring or worse. Maybe this is just an inevitable consequence of what happens when making a certain type of content becomes your job. Maybe this happens to everyone to some degree, but it's still a problem because the best guiding light in what content to make is what content you enjoy. And this is important even outside of a lack of ideas-induced crisis, Because when you make something, you're basically faced with a never-ending set of decisions about what to say, what to leave out, how to structure things, what style to use, and so on. And so, the only way to navigate these decisions is to have a vision, and the only vision I have is what I enjoy. Basically, make content for yourself, make decisions based on what you like or what you think is good, and so on. But that doesn't work so well when I'm struggling to honestly say that I like any of this content anymore, and I increasingly find that none of it seems that good. I didn't used to feel this way. I grew up around gaming media. I had a subscription to PlayStation Magazine back in the PS1 days, and when the internet strolled into people's lives, I was an early user of the legendary gaming news site, IGN, including the forums. I grew up reading reviews and listening to gaming discussions, and all of these reviews had many things in common, which is that they were short, informative, and designed to tell the reader whether they should play this game or not. And that was their target audience, people who hadn't played the game yet. This is what a normal review is, and this is a type of content that is fundamentally different to the average 1 hour plus YouTube gaming analysis video, in that this longer form of content isn't primarily designed to inform, but instead to critique or analyze. And these videos aren't designed for people who hadn't played these games, they are designed for people who had played them and wanted an in-depth discussion afterwards. And once upon a time, this felt very novel to me. It satisfied a niche that traditional gaming media had neglected, and when I first saw videos like Matthew Matosis's Dark Souls 2 or Bioshock Infinite review, I loved them. They were videos that challenged conventional mainstream opinion. They were detailed, they were argumentative, they backed their arguments up with evidence, they talked about aspects of a game normal reviews would never touch, and they felt like a more in-depth and engaging way to talk about games that went above and beyond what traditional reviews had been doing since my knowledge of gaming media had begun. But it's not 2014 anymore. And this type of video no longer seems like a new revolutionary take on gaming criticism. Instead, to me, it feels like an established breed of content that has grown formulaic and bloated, where people just pump out videos on whatever game they think might be popular enough to get views, while often staying as close to mainstream audience opinion as possible so as to avoid angering their subscribers. Even worse, however, is that most videos just don't feel that original to me anymore. I've been around people's opinions on games for a long time, maybe too long, and sometimes I feel like I've heard everything already. And while obviously this isn't literally true, there are still things I have heard many more times than I need to. For example, in 2008, Vault Dweller's very negative review of Fallout 3 felt like a breath of fresh air. But 14 years have passed since then, and I have now heard or seen the same criticisms of Bethesda's take on the Fallout setting repeated again and again and again, to the point where it doesn't feel like people are thinking for themselves, it just feels like people are repeating a narrative that has been passed down to them, to an audience that probably wasn't even around on the internet when that original review was written. And if I'm really being honest, I don't even think people have gotten better at delivering this narrative. I liked the original. It was unashamedly scathing, with the soul and authenticity of something written with no regards to keeping subscribers happy, and I can respect that. So, what I'm saying with all this is that I don't think I really like this genre of content that I have found myself in, and it's nothing personal. I don't dislike your favourite gaming YouTubers. I think I'm honestly just bored of it all. And when I'm struggling with ideas, or struggling to make decisions, or struggling to improve, that's a problem because I feel like I have nowhere to look to for guidance, nowhere to find inspiration, and no clear indication of what to do. I don't want to just pump out content. I don't want to iterate on familiar narratives. I don't want to just do the obvious thing. Good enough isn't good enough for me. I'm an addict, and I need to chase my high, but I don't know how to do that in a way which will make the channel grow, and growth, money, and success do matter. I mean, people might try to say they don't, but they do, for many reasons. And hell, I assume these things matter to me less than to most, because I am a socially reclusive hermit who hates materialism, but even for me, they matter. And I have worked on this channel for 4.5 years. And I don't want to just give up. I don't want to throw away what I've created. I don't want to fail to take advantage of what is honestly a great opportunity that I am lucky to have. I want to succeed. It's just hard. If you want to know what the real problem is with working on something for a long time, it's not what you put into it. It's everything else you give up in doing so. This is called opportunity cost, and if you ignore it, you do so at your peril. So, I have a big incentive to make this channel work, but that doesn't change the fact that I am stuck, and every move seems like the wrong one. And I haven't given up, but things are still going wrong anyway. The last video was cancelled. The one before that might be the worst performing of all time. The last year has seen all real growth stop. The Patreon has also flatlined. Monthly subscribers are getting lower and lower. Even community posts get less and less engagement. And all of this is only going to get worse because I am lost. And work is harder than it used to be. And I don't have any good ideas to turn things around, and I'm not even sure if I'll ever have good ideas anymore because I'm not even sure I still think this type of content is good. So, are you starting to understand the problem? If anyone else looked at my channel and declared it dead, their judgment would be severely premature. But I am not anyone else, I am me. And when it comes to this channel, I know things others don't. I know what goes on behind the scenes. I know what a video takes. I know the person who makes them. And I know this is a bad situation. It is a situation I always knew was possible and always hoped to avoid. My original goal after this channel started to go somewhere following the Fallout video was always to get to the point where I had enough growth and financial security that I could do what I wanted. My plan was to work long and hard and to play the algorithm as one must in order to try to reach this goal. And along the way, I hoped to build an audience that was here for me and would watch my videos because they are mine, not because the video has an attention-grabbing title or because I am covering a game they happen to be interested in. And I hoped to make enough money per month that it wouldn't matter if the numbers did go down, or if my future career options were limited, because I had got to a point of genuine security and I could afford uncertainty or periods of decline because I had already achieved enough. And I think I did come close to this, but in the end, it was not to be. In retrospect, it's probably fair to say that I am not actually a very good YouTuber. I mean, I do make the videos and I do work hard, but there is a lot to YouTube, and the thing is that while I do enjoy making the videos, I don't think I actually enjoy all the other stuff. I don't like looking at analytics, I don't enjoy reading comments, I don't like responding to emails and private messages, I don't like organizing sponsorships, I don't like promoting myself on social media, I don't like using social media, I don't like networking, I don't like cross-promotion, I don't like revealing personal information about myself even. I like being distant and unknown and just focusing on making videos. I don't even think I want to be liked. I've never really wanted to be liked. I just want people to like my videos. This approach may have been a mistake, however. A lot of what drives success on YouTube is an audience liking a YouTuber. YouTube is a very parasocial platform. People subscribe to the YouTubers they like, more so than to the people they think make good content. And the big advantage YouTube has over other more traditional media is that it feels much more personal. This is just how YouTube works, and YouTubers will often go to great lengths to try to be more likable to their audience. And maybe I have somewhat neglected all this sort of stuff. In my defense, I don't like people. But in people's defense, that doesn't provide much of a reason for why they should start liking me, and I accept this. But maybe I should have used Twitter more, or maybe I should have created a Discord, or maybe I should have avoided talking about porn games, or maybe I made other mistakes. Maybe the videos weren't good enough. I don't actually know. It's hard to say. That's one of the things about YouTube that makes it difficult. You have no boss or quarterly statistics to tell you how you're doing. Instead, you spend all of your time dealing with unknowns, where you can never be sure what you're doing wrong and what you need to do instead, or what you should do next, or what the algorithm wants, or whether one thumbnail is better than another, or what the channel will look like in a year, or anything. It's all guesswork all of the time. And all of those unknowns are difficult to deal with. They have a cost. I think that's why YouTubers burn out. I think that's why people stop uploading more than once a year. I think that's why YouTubers make videos about how everything's going badly and about being unhappy. I think people blame it on other stuff, but I think people are wrong. It's the unknowns that are the real problem, and everything else is just secondary. Or maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm projecting, maybe it's just me. Regardless, I have spent much time thinking about this, and I do have a solution. It is not a good solution, but it is the best that I have, so I'm going to spend the rest of this video talking about this and what my plans are for the future. Basically, I want to have 2 channels, and on one channel I will try to satisfy the algorithm and be successful, and on the other channel I won't. I will try to satisfy myself, do what I want, and let success go. And then, if I don't have a good idea for one channel, I will work on something for the other. So this way, I will have at least one creative outlet that doesn't revolve around the algorithm's needs, and I don't need to always produce one successful video after another, and I will have the freedom to wait for good ideas rather than trying to force them, and I can be more experimental and try out different things, and maybe even grow as a creator, all without feeling like I'm sacrificing any chance of monetary success. And as it so happens, I already have a second channel, and I've even tested the waters a little bit, and I even had a good time doing so. So I guess the real problem becomes, which channel should be which? And the answer isn't as obvious as you might think. In fact, it's not obvious at all. New channels can have a lot more potential for growth, and the main channel is currently stagnating. But at the same time, the main channel has already received significant investment, and the second channel naturally provides greater freedom. And honestly, there is a lot that can be taken into consideration, and I'm not sure I need to outline every point, because ultimately it's my judgment which matters, and my judgment is that it's not possible to tell yet. As in, I don't think I have enough information to decide how viable the second channel is or could be, so I'd rather make more videos while trying to keep the possibility of future success at least open, and then deciding in the future what to do when I have more information. So that is what I will do. I do want to make one more video on the main channel, one that I've already started, a retrospective on the Gothic series, as this is something that I once promised the patrons, and I would feel bad about walking away without finishing it. But after this, I do intend to walk away and focus on making videos on my second channel for a while to gain more information about this channel's viability, while enjoying the opportunity this provides to make some videos that are a little different. And then, when the day comes that I have a really good idea for the main channel, I will come back to it. And I'm sure that day will come, eventually. At the very least, the one type of gaming video that I still look forward to making is covering upcoming games that I'm interested in that are from series or developers that I'm already invested in. And there are at least some of these that are obvious choices for videos, such as Starfield, Baldur's Gate 3, and Final Fantasy 16. To be honest, I find talking about newly released games to be generally more interesting than covering older ones, because I like how people are still making up their minds, and how not every obvious point has already been said. So there are still gaming videos I look forward to making in the future, and maybe I will have other ideas too. It's just that I don't believe I can keep making videos back to back, one after the other anymore. As for the second channel, I don't actually have a plan. Which might be a problem, because for a channel to consistently grow, it really needs to have a theme, as the way growth works on YouTube is that when you upload a video, it's shown to various people who watch your content, and YouTube then takes the percentage of people who click on this new video as a measurement of how interesting the video is. This is the click-through rate you hear people talking about. If a video then achieves a good click-through rate with the first audience it's shown to, YouTube will then start to show it to more and more people, including new people. So basically, if you want to reach new people and grow, you need to satisfy your core audience first, or you won't get the opportunity to move beyond them. This is why YouTubers often stick to covering similar topics in similar styles, while finding they do poorly whenever they try to do something different. Because growth is all about consistently pleasing your core audience, and it doesn't matter how good a video is if it doesn't perform well with your normal viewers. Therefore, if you want a channel to grow, you should probably aim to make content that appeals to similar people. But I don't know how much I actually want to do that, and I don't have any kind of theme in mind. And introducing restrictions so early kind of defeats the purpose of the second channel. Anyway, I have ideas, and there are some similarities between them, like a focus on internet culture and social commentary, but I don't have a plan. I guess the first two videos give some indication of what type of content I will probably make, and maybe if I keep making videos, a real channel will just sort of work itself out. You never know, no harm in being optimistic. I also think that I enjoy talking about things which are important to me, and that the more I do that, the more I will basically be forced, sooner or later, into overtly political territory, and that's probably not a good thing, for me, because I like to challenge opinions and be critical of things. That's what I like to do when talking about video games, and that's what I like to do when talking about other things. And while there is obviously a large market for political content on the internet, I don't think most people who consume political content want to have their opinions challenged. I think they want the exact opposite, actually, so I don't really think there is much of an audience out there, for me, for what I want to do, what I want to make. But I still want to make it anyway. So, basically, I have no plan, I don't think there is an audience out there, and this doesn't seem like a good financial decision, but this is what I'm going to do, because I want to, and what else is there to say? Well, many things, really, but oh well, I am bored of speaking, and I have Gothic 3 and 4 to play. What fun awaits me, what a great last video. Anyway, at least now I have made an attempt to explain myself, and I can avoid future questions by just pointing people here. But, in summary, hello, my name is Never Knows Best, and I am an addict. And I don't want help, I want to indulge in my addiction, and I want to be paid for doing it, but not by you, by YouTube. So maybe I do want help, just not from you, I want help from the YouTube algorithm, but unfortunately, the algorithm doesn't listen to me. It actually doesn't even pick up the phone, which I find rude. But I guess it's normal, because the algorithm isn't a person, it is an unknowable Lovecraftian entity that exists to increase watch time at the cost of creator happiness and many other things. And that's just how it goes. Anyway, you could say living your life trying to meet the needs of a Lovecraftian entity maybe isn't the best way to live, and you would be right. But I don't care because I am an addict, and I think I would rather indulge in my addiction, even if I don't end up getting paid for it. So that is what I am going to do. I am going to make videos and chase that high, and no one can stop me. Thank you for watching.